1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, the new drug today is a new Players Champion that is a former Players Champion. I thought it was a fantastic week at the tournament and a fantastic drama-filled end to the tournament. By now, I'm assuming you either watched it, attended it, or know about it. Rory McIlroy has won for the second time in 5 years, and the second time he is a Players Champion. Congratulations to J.J. Spawn, who played, I thought, fantastic throughout the course of the tournament. He's a journeyman of sorts because he's about the same age as Rory, but he's kind of found his game. And if you watched it this morning, I'm assuming most people either watched it, heard about it, know about it. So we'll certainly talk about that today. But a very successful Players Championship in the books. The Gator basketball team might be the best team in the country. Everybody's now picking them to win it. They are a number one seed. They're the number one seed in the West. I think you all know that by now. They ran through, and I'll say it again, they ran through the SEC tournament, a conference tournament for one of the best conferences in the history of college basketball. So say the people way smarter than me. And I thought they ran through the tournament and in the process beat three very good teams. They didn't have the there's no bunnies now. Maybe there might be. By the way, how would you like to be South Carolina or LSU, the only two teams that didn't make the field? Okay. Hey, I play basketball for LSU. Really? You're one of the two that didn't make the field.
Yeah.
No one's talking about the two. How about the two? You're one of the two that didn't make it. Great.
Only two SEC teams did not make the tournament?
Yeah, 14 already.
That is insane.
You're one of the two that didn't. You know, LSU and South Carolina. Know what you are? You're the two that didn't make it.
Yeah. Well, they're going to actually play tomorrow night for the 15th spot.
I guess.
They're going to wedge them in somewhere in the bracket.
So two teams didn't make it. Two teams in the league didn't make the field. So the other 14 did. But the tournament field is set. We'll talk all about the Gators win. There's a lot to get to in the world of sports, but obviously two main stories around here. None bigger than the Players Championship, which I thought came off wonderfully again. So we'll certainly talk. We'll get through the brackets today. The brackets are all set. That West region's tough now. You know, it was funny. You and I had this conversation a week or two ago. I said, look, even if you're a one seed, it's not going to be easy because what if you drew like UConn and you go, yeah, or Kansas, two blue bloods? Well, they're both in the region. Just in case you're wondering, they're both in the region. So, but Florida has a team, and we'll get to this a little later. I want to start with the players, but Florida has a team. I won't say without flaw because nobody is without flaw, but I'll say this, Hays, you got to look hard to find the flaw. I mean, obviously the guards are really good. Obviously they can really shoot. Obviously they got length up front with 7-footers that run the floor. Obviously, there's depth if you take on foul trouble. The officiating was terrible yesterday, by the way. It was just terrible. And it hurt Tennessee more than it did Florida because they're not as deep. But they blow on somebody, you were blowing a whistle. I thought both teams might shoot 50 free throws. It was a terribly officiated game, in my opinion. And again, it hurt Tennessee more than Florida. It was a terribly officiated game. But Florida's a team with fewer flaws than a basketball team I've seen in a long time. That's what I'll say about the Gators.
Yeah, I mean, we can start with concerns over Florida as you now, get into the tournament. Obviously, we've got days to discuss this. They don't play until Friday at 6:50 in the evening. But I would say, concerns for Florida, I would say it's three things. Lack of experience in the NCAA tournament other than Elijah Martin. That's coaches and players. Todd Golden, is I don't think he hasn't won a game in the NCAA tournament yet. Now that'll change Friday night. They're a 29-point favorite over Norfolk State. But still, when you get deep into it, he doesn't have that experience to fall back on. The players really, other than Elijah Martin, who did it at FAU, don't have that experience to fall back on. The turnovers are an issue. Florida is getting into bad habits of getting to halftime with 10 or more turnovers, and that does need to stop. Now, they were better Sunday against Tennessee in that manner, which is impressive because Tennessee was by far the best defense they saw in Nashville. Missouri and Alabama are more offensive-oriented teams, but they've got to cut the turnovers down. They're 90th in the country in turnover margin at plus 1.4, so that's not terrible. There's 355 teams, so we're nitpicking a little, but it's popped up lately in terms of a lot of turnovers, particularly in first halves. And then at the free throw line, I think you would have some concern. Now, I would say, because again, we're searching here, I would say what they showed on senior night in Tuscaloosa, they showed they can go the line. Their bigs can go the line, make big 1-and-1s to protect a lead and seal a win. Yesterday against Tennessee, they were unbelievable at the free throw line. So they've had some fantastic moments lately, in terms of making their free throws. They were 25 of 28 yesterday, but they're 196th in the country in free throw percentage at 71.8%. So it is, again, when you look at things that could potentially grab this team. Styles, we know they're immune to styles. They've seen the best offense in the country in Alabama. They've seen one of the best offenses in the country in Missouri. They've seen one of the best defenses in the country in Tennessee. None of it mattered. They won the SEC tournament, outscoring the three opponents 275 to 230, an average of 15 points a game. So your style isn't going to be what beats Florida. If you're a shootout team, fast-paced offense, they can play with that. If you're a slow it down, play great defense team, they've shown they can play with that and beat that. So they don't have to worry about styles. They don't, to your point, they don't have to worry about foul trouble because they have the best depth. I mean, it's not just depth. They have elite players coming off the bench. Thomas Houck is an elite college basketball player. Denzel Aberdeen, I think, is a very good college basketball player. And so what they have coming off the bench, obviously Clavzar can hit a three occasionally when you need it. I mean, what a great story Micah Hand-Logden has become. It's why we love sports, the element of perseverance that life can throw at you, the challenges life can throw at you, and those really get magnified in the sports arena and illuminated in the sports arena. And to see Micah Hand-Logden break his leg on that court a year ago, and then to be up on a ladder cutting down a net because he was a big cog in winning a championship. His stats don't really tell you the impact that Micah Hand-Logden has had since he has returned. He has gotten almost every loose ball that he's gone after. He is averaging 5.4 rebounds and just 14 and a half minutes of play on average. So extend those minutes out. If Micah Hand-Logden was playing the minutes that like an Alex Condon is, 25 plus minutes a game, Thomas Houck's at 24 minutes a game, I mean, he'd be averaging 9-10 rebounds a contest. I mean, that's what he's giving Florida, that pace when he's on the court. I mean, it's to the point where I get excited when players go to the scorer's table. Not that I don't love the five that they have, but that is how deep they are. So foul trouble is not going to bother them. They can play through that. And, I mean, the things that you would look for in terms of what is going to get you beat, I would say it's going to have to be a game where Florida commits 20-plus turnovers or maybe at least 18, and they're 60% at the free throw line, and that's what does them in. And they panic because they don't have that experience.
They will, and I'll go through, you went through a lot of stuff there. I'll unpack some of that as we get to the Gators. But and we'll certainly look ahead as they get to the tournament. I agree with a lot of what you said. I will tell you this, it was a glorious tournament for the Gators on so many fronts. The Hand-Logden one, certainly a principal among those. So I'll get to all that. We'll certainly talk Gator basketball. But it's a glorious day. They're one of the best teams in the country. We'll certainly get. I got one other concern that's kind of connected to what you said, and I'll get to that. I think it's their biggest concern. We'll get to that when we get to them coming up a little bit later on. But a great weekend to be a Gator fan. I promise you. I was jumping around.
It was euphoria.
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, it's been 11 years since football or basketball has really won anything of consequence.
So we'll certainly get to that coming up. The Players Championship, I thought was what great drama. Did you go out yesterday, by the way? You
Yesterday, yes.
You did.
We didn't stay out. We were out for about an hour and a half.
And then the water, and then the rain. You watched the Gators, then went out. Is that what you did?
No, we went. What did we do? We went out.
Yeah. In the morning.
In the morning.
Okay, gotcha.
And then once the first delay came, we got home. We were a little bit obviously behind, but by the time the game ended, we were live.
We caught up. Yeah. So, but I will tell you, what great drama is the Players Championship. I was torn when it went, and if you watch the up and down, the back and forth, I mean, J.J. Spawn started the day with a pretty good lead, lost the lead. Rory McIlroy had a 3-shot lead on the back 9. He was 13 under. The Chasers were at 10. He lost the lead. J.J. Spawn, you probably all know this by now, had a putt to win it on 18, probably about a 20-footer. And he was short all day on putts. And when he putted it, I thought he made it.
I thought he did too.
And then, and at first glance, it looked like it was just one rotation or two too short. But if you watch closely, it started to turn right just a hair and might have been on the lip. Even if he'd putted it a little harder, my first thought was a little harder and he wins the golf tournament. I'm still not sure that's not right. But then if you look again, it started to turn to his right just a hair. But you could see the look on his face because the minute he knew playoff with Rory, you needed to beat Rory then. Just like I talked to Paul. Paul Goydos made the same comment. He wasn't beating Sergio in a playoff. Kisner and whoever else it was weren't beating Ricky Fowler in a playoff. And the veteran player who's been there was going to win the playoff. So you could tell when J.J. Spaun didn't make the putt to win on 18, did you see the look on his face? It was like, now I got a 3-hole aggregate against Rory McIlroy. He wasn't winning. You knew you went to bed. We went to bed knowing Rory was going to be one of the multiple winners of the Players' Championship.
And Rory on Sunday was about a half a millimeter away from blowing it.
Well, here's what's funny about that. Did you hear him talk about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He thought it was going to go left a little. He putted it to the middle of the hole, about a 5-footer. He putted it in the middle of the hole, thinking it was going to go left. It moved right and went in the right side door. And he looked almost like, oh my God.
Oh, I
almost blew this.
I think he aged 10 years on the spot.
On that putt.
I mean, because when that thing started to curve,
yes.
I mean, how often in Rory McIlroy's career has that curve ended up with the ball not in the cup?
That's exactly right. And he's been scarred from that.
Yeah. So. And so, but it was a great tournament. Certainly commend everybody involved in it. Just a magnificent week. And they did a great job with the weather that was thrown at them. And it's great that they have another. I mean, J.J. Spaun would have been a fantastic story, but obviously we love it when elite players come to the stadium course and walk out a Players' Champion. And Rory McIlroy joins Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and Scotty Scheffler as the only multiple major champions. So an incredibly elite list that Rory McIlroy joined today.
Think about what he just said. The only players in the history of the sport that have won more than one major and more than one players. Give me the list again. Give me the names again.
Nicklaus, Woods, Scheffler.
How about that? Is that good company? So it really was good. But I'm going to start. We're going to take a break. I'm going to start the program talking about the players, our week, wrapping up our week, how it wound up, and we'll talk Players' Championship. After that, we'll get into the Gators and what they did in the SEC Championship game, what they did in the whole tournament. We'll look at the brackets. We got a lot to do. Glad you're with us on a Monday. We do want to thank our friends from the Best Bet. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way. It is a St. Patrick's Day Monday show, and certainly Best Bet says Happy St. Patrick's Day, and they say it this way. Today, all locations, all day long until midnight, make a royal flush in clubs. It is St. Patrick's Day, and take home $500 to $5,000. So happy St. Patrick's Day from our friends at the Best Bet. It's always a Best Bet Monday around here. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
That's a fascinating little gadget. It's going to replace CDs soon, so I'll have to buy the White Album again.
What is this? It's a 1010XL.
The past is past, the future's now.
This is Hays Carlyon here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish family, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Frank Frangie here for Bono's Pit Barbecue. Bono's has been serving Jacksonville's best barbecue for over 75 years. And now, catch this. Bono's new limited time offer features an Atlantic fried cod platter with 2 pieces of mouth-watering fried cod and 1 southern side for $15.49, or a fried cod sandwich with 1 southern side for $12.99. You can't beat that deal. And after 1 bite, you'll be hooked. So you better hurry in. The fried cod platter right now at Bono's. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Here's Linda Beaver.
At Beaver Toyota, we believe your experience should be more than just buying a car. It should be a lifetime of confidence, care, and trust. We're proud to offer a lifetime warranty, lifetime oil changes, and lifetime customer service. We're not just here to sell you a car. We're here to establish a lifelong relationship that you can always count on. It's simple. You deserve the best and shouldn't settle for less. Visit Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine, where we're ready to give you peace of mind for a lifetime. We're here to wow you.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Get a healthy start in 2025. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to encourage you to get healthy and stay healthy this year. They have a dedicated team who are committed to providing quality care. The goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Visit duval.floridahealth.gov to learn more about their health programs and services. That's duval.floridahealth.gov.
Looking for adventure? Need a machine that works as hard as you do? CF Moto has you covered. At Ride Now Beach Boulevard, we've got CF Moto ATVs and UTVs built for any task, any trail, anytime. Tear up the dirt with the trail-tested C-Force ATV lineup or conquer through terrain with a Z-Force UTV. Find your CF Moto ride today at Ride Now Beach Boulevard or visit ridenowbeachboulevard.com. ATVs and UTVs are for riders 16 and older. They can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends an improved safety training course.
Plumbing problem? AC acting up? Septic tank trouble? Don't waste time calling 3 different companies. Just call Duck Duck Rooter. We offer plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services. Call 904-862-6769.
Get to know positions and players. The 1010XL Ultimate Draft Guide is brought to you by Blue Haven Pools, the #1 pool builder in Jacksonville. Follow rankings and roundtables as the draft takes shape. Go to 1010XL.com/2025 draft guide to get yours.
Joe C for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite roofing contractor lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjacks.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here. We've talked about some of the struggles that you may come across when it comes time to sell your home. We've told you how great Chad and Sandy are at chadandsandy.com. But you know, they're also great when things are going good and the economy is showing positive signs. Now may be the time to sell your home at the price you want. It's easy to find out. Get friendly expert help from the Jacksonville agents who eat and sleep local real estate. Call my agents, Chad and Sandy Newman. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Chad and Sandy can do that. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Well, let's take care of that right now because here's the Chad and Sandy guarantee. Your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Jonathan in Mount Pleasant said, the only thing standing between me and my dream of traveling in my RV was the sale of my Mount Pleasant home. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Crazy results in just 3 days. Multiple offers, full asking price. You can get it too. Call today or go to chadandsandy.com.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single, seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Hello, I'm attorney Malcolm Anthony. Being charged with domestic violence can turn your life upside down. If you're in trouble, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Hi, thank you for joining us on the program. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ La Selva. JJ kind enough to stop by Bono's today. How's everything at Bono's, JJ?
It was
good?
great. I want to thank everyone. It tasted amazing. It was very quick. And thank you, Ludwig Oberg.
Whatever your name is. JJ, our first Loser Monday winner.
Loser.
The first loser of the week or the year. So he's kind enough to pick up Bonos for us. Thank you for that. You're down one, but it's a long season.
It is. And even though I can't take Oberg again, I wouldn't anyway.
That's usually how it works.
It kind of is.
I'm still burned on Patrick Cantlay from like 4 years ago.
And DJ and a couple of them.
I mean, DJ, if he was like in good form, I probably would have forgiven him.
Never
and
Cantlay again.
But never Cantlay again. But yeah, Ludwig on 16 on Friday. Boy, that was a mess.
Yeah,
he had 2 in the water.
My second guess was JJ Spawn. So.
Oh goodness.
Maybe the Masters.
But thank you for picking up Bonos.
Yes, thank you, JJ. JJ La Selva.
JJ, this JJ. The players was fantastic. I thought. First of all, the weather was until Friday was spectacular. I was out much of the day Saturday, even Saturday. The wind started blowing now. It got a little cooler now Saturday because the wind kicked up. But it was a beautiful day Saturday.
The crowds looked insane on Saturday. It looked like everybody I knew was out there.
Friday and Saturday, it was crazy busy. Both days, crazy busy. But had a great time. A buddy of mine and I went out there and we watched from 17 for a while. Then I'm telling you, if you sit left of 12. Like across the water from 12, it's all shaded. You're on this big berm. I'm telling you, my buddy goes, this is where everybody should stay. And nobody knows about it, even though now I'm talking about it on the radio. But it was a great seat. So I thought something, number one, Lee Smith and company, Lee will be in this week. Congratulations to Lee and all the folks that put it on. I thought you guys knocked it out of the park. I really did. I thought it was just fantastic work from the players' staff. The weather was fantastic. Everything's good. It also is better, to your point a minute ago, when a star wins. I was torn because it was hard not to root for Spawn because he was the journeyman guy. He was the upstart, although he's not that new to it. And you always root for the underdog, except for the fact that the underdog not winning is better for the tournament and its prestige and whatnot, and it really is. As watching yesterday, I didn't care who. This is the beauty. This is the greatness of a golf tournament or a really good golf tournament, Hayes. I didn't care who won, but I watched nervously. Isn't that the thing? I didn't care.
Oh, it was.
I literally had
tension.
I literally had no rooting interest. I didn't care who won, but I was nervous over every shot. I didn't want anybody to miss a putt. I didn't want anybody to hit one out of bounds or hit one left or right. And I tell you, that golf course reared its head now. I mean, from about the middle of Saturday on, good luck. That golf course reared its head, man. 17 reared its head, and watching them come down the stretch on Saturday, phenomenal drama. And then I'm sorry, on Sunday, phenomenal drama. And then, of course, the playoff today. I said it in the last segment. When J.J. Spawn had that 20-footer or so, he had to make it because he wasn't going to beat Rory McIlroy in a playoff. And I thought the worst possible thing that could have happened is already you're nervous, and now you've got conditions. Is good. And J.J. Spawn, by the way, that's now 3 top 3 finishes this year. So it looks like he's found his game. Two seconds and a third, a T2, a T3, and now an outright second. So,
I think he should be your Masters pick for this.
Well, don't he's still available to me. But the one thing, God bless him, and he looked nervous. The only thing he said that I didn't quite agree with when he hit on 17, by the way, 17 decided it. Because even though he was one shot behind going to 17 in the playoff, if you both par, it's still a one-shot difference when you get to the final hole in the aggregate. Rory hits 9-iron, middle of the green, even kind of back middle. Everyone knows Spawn doesn't hit it as far as Rory does. So he's thinking if he hit 9-iron, I'm going to hit 8-iron, and so he hits 8-iron. Flushed it, flew over the green in the air, you know the rest. When interviewed afterwards, then he was nervous and frustrated a little bit. And he said, well, I didn't pick the wrong club. I had the right club, right swing. I just flushed it and it went through the wind. Well, no, you probably hit the wrong club. I mean, if you fly it over the green, you probably should have hit 9-iron. I mean, I was surprised he didn't say, you know what, pick the wrong club. Didn't mean to. I thought in retrospect, I hit 9-iron him in the middle of the green because he flew it over the green. So of all the things that went right or wrong, missing the putt, missing this or that, the mistake that'll haunt him will be the best swing he made all. He might not have made a better swing than that all tournament. He made a great swing, but that might be the one that haunts him. And isn't it something that 17 is the signature hole on that signature golf course is the one that reared its head and decided the outcome of 4 days and change of golf, of 144 players, of all the stuff that happens on all those days in 18 different holes played 4 different times. At the end of the day, the signature hole decided the golf tournament. He was down 1 in the aggregate. And you say, well, he lost by that if they both par,
he's still in it going to 17 down 1.
Down 1.
Yeah, I mean, even if they both par there, I mean, because you don't know what Rory's going to do with his 18 tee shot.
Yeah, and they both blocked it right. They both hit bad tee balls. So I guess that's the magic, the charm, at the same time the danger and the nightmare and all of that all rolled into one, Hays. That at the end of all that golf, all that week of golf, all those great players, the signature hole on the signature golf course decided the golf tournament, which is quite frankly exactly how Pete Dye designed it and exactly what was supposed to happen.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there's a reason that it used to be a storyline 15, 20 years ago with Tiger, and he used to say, well, I don't like where 17 is on the course.
Right.
I think it would be more fitting if it was like at 8 or 11, and then you'd have time to recover in your round. Well, no, that's not the purpose of 17. The purpose of 17 is it's the last mental challenge you have to clear, or one of the last, because 18 is certainly one of the more difficult closing holes on the PGA Tour, but it's one of the last, and certainly from a intimidation standpoint, it is the last. The 18 tee shot is intimidating, but you can do what Rory did today when he had the lead and just hit it so far right, knowing that you're going to have a play. I mean, we saw what Minwoo Lee did on Friday. I mean, he couldn't have been more right on 18 and still was able to salvage par. Rory, obviously, today gets a very easy bogey when he's got a 3-shot lead, so very comfortable finish. But yeah, it's the way you would draw it up. But you would rather, I think, the shot of the tournament be a quality shot because, again, 5, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when people look back at this event, the JJ Spawn going over the green in the playoff
right
is going to be the shot that everybody remembers. But that's the nature of this course. I mean, sometimes it's going to be the mistake more than it's going to be the great shot. And again, hats off to Rory McIlroy because the conditions were really tough. How he won this event, driving the way he drove, I mean, it really speaks to, as we kind of turn the page a little bit towards the rest of the golf year, like, does Rory McIlroy have something special coming? And he might, because he's never won twice this early in a season. He's got the Players Championship. He now, obviously, the Masters is the big one for him. It's the one he's been chasing for a long time now to complete the career Grand Slam. But I think you look at, Scheffler is I think a little wobbled. I mean, he doesn't look like himself right now. And certainly he can find that form and he may dominate and win his 3rd green jacket. But when you look at the contenders around Rory, I think the live guys you can basically discount. I just think they haven't played competitive real golf in so long. I think it's going to be hard for somebody like Brooks Koepka, and he's the one that I would put the most stock in, showing up at a U.S. Open and dominating at Oakmont. I just think that those guys have been so far removed from elite competition, and I think you started to see it last year in the majors. They weren't particularly competitive as a group. So you look at it, maybe Morikawa, obviously Xander Schauffele, as he gets the rust off from the rib injury, will probably be a big factor. But
DeChambeau won a U.S. Open last year.
But other than DeChambeau, it was basically like they all basically struggled as a group. Yes, and maybe DeChambeau will be able to rise back to that. But I wouldn't think if I'm Rory McIlroy, I'm overly concerned about the guys that are on live. Now, maybe that'll change. But I think in looking at it, yeah, I mean, this could be a spectacular year for Rory McIlroy. I mean, if he's able to get another, one of these 4 majors coming up with a Players Championship, I mean, he may be headed towards, Player of the Year, and he's got a great history at a lot of these tracks.
Yeah, to your point about his driving, I think he hit 4 fairways Sunday. Was it 4? I think he hit.
I think he was under 50% for the week.
Yeah, but I think on Sunday, in Sunday he hit 4 or 5 fairways of the 14. Yeah, there's 14 fairways. I think he hit 4 or 5. So it's somewhere thereabouts. It was really bad. Yeah, as you move forward, if you look at the best players playing right now, there's not a Spieth, Justin Thomas, Dustin Johnson. All those guys took turns being the hot guy at the time. There's really not a guy like that to compete with Rory right now. That doesn't mean someone won't come out of nowhere. Scheffler is the closest to it, and Scotty Scheffler's going to be fine. But you're right. He certainly doesn't look like the Scheffler last year when he was winning everything, So I mean, who comes out of nowhere? There's not somebody that you say, okay, he's the guy for Rory to beat.
What a crazy week Justin Thomas had.
Yeah,
up and down all over the place.
Shot 62 one day and wasn't very good the other days.
Insane.
But I mean, realistically, as you look at the to your point, there's not one guy. So we'll see if Rory can keep it together. It's weird. I walked away. Finished watching this morning. And I said, I'm not sure what I think Rory did great in this tournament. Obviously, he didn't drive it great.
It was really
obviously didn't
not much.
At times didn't putt it great, but he avoided enough trouble to win the golf tournament. And so it'll be interesting to see. But again, a great week at the golf tournament. I believe that in all my heart. Well run, well played. Weather was spectacular. I know the weather was no good for a Sunday, but for the most part, weather was spectacular. Crowds were spectacular. No real issues of note. There was a vibe out there. Congratulations to Lee and his team, and congratulations to one of the great players in the world, Rory McIlroy, wins for the 28th times on tour. So well-deserved title. Really wonderful week of the players. We'll take a break. The Gators win the SEC title. We'll talk about that after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
The most Gators.
Touchdown Gators!
The most Jaguars.
That's a touchdown for Jacksonville.
1010XL, radio home of the Gators and Jags.
One thing that separates Beard's Diamonds from those other jewelry stores at the town center, no one's paid on commission.
Nobody at Beard's is on commission. That's more of your corporate stores that pay commission.
Beard's owner, John Lupo, says that means no pressure, no hidden agenda, no extra markups.
And you're getting a better deal. You're not paying the corporate commission. You're not paying the salesperson's commission. If they're paying your salespeople commission, you're starting off in the hole.
And that's why you feel like a number at most jewelry stores, because it's all about making the sale, but not at Beard's.
Because it's a corporate atmosphere and they want to sell you what they want to sell you. We're here to sell you what you want. Our salespeople can do whatever they want to make sure that the customer is happy.
So relax. At Beard's Diamonds, they have all the things you want, like quality education, selection, warranties, and none of the stuff you don't want, like pressure and tacked on commissions.
Nobody's making an extra 5 or 10% on Beard's customers.
Beard's Diamonds, the town center's only locally owned jeweler.
We sell better merchandise, better product for less money, guaranteed.
You know, Mr. Chubby's Wings is giving away free beer again this year for the Madness Tournament.
Do they really give you a free pint of Miller Lite for each game you pick right?
Yes, all you got to do is fill out your bracket now at 1010XL.com. The overall winner gets tickets to Welcome to Rockville on Saturday. But for free beer, just download your bracket, print it out, and bring it into any Mr. Chubby's Wings location during the games. Every game you pick right, you get a free beer.
Go to 1010XL.com now. It's the free beer Chubby Madness Bracket Challenge. See Mr. Chubby's Wings Facebook for full contest details.
Pickett here for Bound 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bound 9. Visit Bound 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bound 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town, setting the standard in our hometown. Quality service, the best around. Coolidge is the cat that cares about your heating and about your air. Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town.
It's the Mr. Chubby's Bracket Challenge going on now at 1010XL.com. Print your bracket and bring it to any Mr. Chubby's Wings during Live Madness game. Get a free Miller Lite for each game you pick right. Top prize Saturday passes to Welcome to Rockville.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Listen up, poker players. March is heating up at all 3 Best Bet locations. The Bad Beat jackpots are now uncapped, soaring to new heights. So don't miss your chance to win big. Plus, get in on the $42,000 weekend windfall, featuring $1,000 high hands every Friday and $500 high hands on Saturdays. And starting March 3rd, the Race to a Race promotion is back. For all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
All right, happy St. Patrick's Day from our friends at the Best Bet. Don't forget now, today at all locations until midnight, make a royal flush in clubs. You take home between $500 and $5,000. Head to the Best Bet. 3 great locations: St. Augustine, Jacksonville on Monument Road, and on Orange Park on US 17. That's St. Augustine location right there on the highway. You can't miss it on the left as you head south on I-95. The Gators win the SEC tournament. Whole bunch of thoughts on that. We'll get to them in the future in a minute, but let's start with the SEC tournament. They were the best team in it. They played 3 really good teams. Missouri, who probably matches up with them better than the other 2. That was the most dangerous of the games, and I'm glad they didn't have Mitchell because I don't know what would have happened. But they beat Missouri. I mean, gutted Alabama, who was coming off a Final Four season and has a really good team, and I thought physically handled Tennessee from the minute that game started. They were the best team in it. They were the most physical team. They were the best shooting team, and right now they are the best team in the Southeastern Conference. I will tell you that. I don't think they deserve the number 1 overall seed over Auburn. I think Auburn earned that with those 16 quad 1 wins. Auburn took on more very good teams out of conference. Florida did not. I thought because of Florida's weak out-of-conference schedule, I have no problem with the fourth number one seed rather than a second or a third. I'm okay with that. You may not agree with me, but that's my opinion. Auburn deserved the number one seed overall. Florida deserved one of the other number one seeds. I'm totally okay with it. But right now, today, as we sit here on March 17th, Florida's the best team in the conference. And I think most people would tell you that Florida's the best team in the conference. They're physical. They've got – the season could not have played out any better. The injuries were perfect because the injuries to Clayton and Martin made them play Aberdeen more, and he evolved into a really good player. The injuries up front helped Thomas Houck become a star. If Alexis and Condon don't get hurt, I don't think Handlogden comes back. I think he just takes his redshirt year, and now you're playing Sam Alexis, who's not nearly as good a player. So the injuries played out perfectly for Florida. The season played out perfectly. They're now healthy. Walter Clayton Jr. is one of the best 3 or 4 players that have ever worn that uniform. He's one of the best that have ever. He's one of the best players, and I've watched freaking every dribble probably for 40 years, and he's one of the best players to ever wear the uniform. And so, and they have chemistry with Golden. They play hard for each other. They are tough. I agree with what all the announcers say. Chinyelu and Elijah Martin made him tougher. They essentially have two, because Condon's a 7-footer. They may list him at 6'11". He's a 7-footer. So they've got 2 7-footers that run the floor. They've got a 6'10", 255-pound bodybuilder that nobody can move. They've got a 6'9" guy that has NBA skills. That's their 4 bigs, and everybody brags about their guards. Their guards are all physical. They can all make shots. 2 of them, Clayton and Richard, are great shooters. They're a team without flaw for now. So they ran through the SEC tournament. I think if you ran back the SEC tournament and played it again next week, delayed the NCAA for a week and played it again, they'd win it again. This wasn't a fluke. They were and you could tell they didn't get they didn't make a Chris Chiozza 40-footer at the buzzer to win one of those conference games. They outplayed 3 really good teams. Other than Auburn, I think they outplayed the next 3 best teams in the league. Everybody admits Alabama and Tennessee are next. Maybe Kentucky's better than Missouri, but I'm not sure they are.
Well, Alabama beat them by 30.
Yeah. Alabama wore out Kentucky one night before Florida wore out Alabama. That's about a 50-point difference. So I think Florida, other than Auburn, beat the next 3 best teams. And Hays, it was never a fluke. It was really, for the most part, it was never in doubt. The games were never in doubt. You got every game was about the same. Florida got out to a lead. The other team chipped its way back in. The other team got it to 3, 4, 6, 8, 5, whatever. And then Florida stepped on the gas in about the last 5 or 6 minutes. And the next thing you knew, you had a double-digit win or close to it. That's the way the tournament played out. I'll get to the NCAA tournament in a second, but first for the SEC tournament, the tournament could not have gone any better for the Florida Gators, and it was one of the most rewarding. They've only had 5 of them. It's one of the most rewarding SEC tournament titles I've ever seen. It was exhilarating the way they handled the rest of the league. And in a year where the league is 14 teams are in, considered the greatest conference of all time, evidenced by the 14 teams, and Florida ran through that conference tournament.
Without a doubt, Florida is 8-0 on neutral courts this season. They're the only legit contender in this tournament that's undefeated on a neutral court. You look at what they were able to do against Tennessee yesterday, who obviously prides themselves on being the toughest team and defense in the country, not just the SEC. Florida wins the glass 39-25. Tennessee actually shot better than Florida yesterday. Tennessee shot it at 44.9%. Florida was at 42.6%. Why does Florida win by 9? Because they take 12 more shots from the field, because they dominated rebounding against one of the toughest teams in the country. 5 players for Florida had at least 4 rebounds. They're doing an outstanding job collectively rebounding. I thought Clayton and Martin really gave them some tough rebounds. Obviously, Houck, Chinlelu, Condon, they have magnificent hands coordination for being big guys. Handlogden's got a great feel for rebounding, but it's got to come from the guards too at times. And Clayton and Martin, I thought, really delivered with that yesterday. We had talked about turnovers had been an issue. They only had 8 against Tennessee. If Florida has single-digit turnovers, you're not going to beat them. And then you look at just the dominance, to your point. I mean, Tennessee was a day removed from beating Auburn. the number one overall seed in this tournament. 1 day removed. Florida led the game for 35 minutes and 22 seconds. Tennessee led it for 2 minutes and 49 seconds, and those were in the first 5 minutes of the contest.
Yeah,
they dominated the field. Missouri, Alabama, and Tennessee. Florida outscored those three 275 to 230, an average of 15 points a game.
And by the way, technically they did win yesterday on a quote-unquote neutral court, but it wasn't.
Correct.
That was and good for those fans.
Neither was North Carolina in December when they met. That game was in Charlotte.
Correct. That was a Tennessee crowd, man, and good for them. Good for Tennessee from getting those crowds out. Good for those fans.
Absolutely.
This would have been like playing in Orlando or Tampa. And look, if Tennessee wasn't the enemy, because when you're a Florida fan, Tennessee, I would love that team. They are tough. They play hard. They play defense. They get loose balls. They scrap. Ziegler's a fantastic point guard. Obviously, they can shoot it. Lanier can shoot it. Their big guys are tough inside. The Gainey guy comes off the bench yesterday and gave them everything he possibly could give them. They're freaking good and tough and admirable. Florida's just better. They just ran into a team that was better, and they did a great job. Tennessee did of getting that crowd in it yesterday, and I think Tennessee's going deep in this tournament. By the way, they were
Absolutely.
the fifth overall seed,
right?
And then but Florida, and that also helps the Gators because they are going to be booed now. They're going when you're the number one seed, they're always rooting for the other team. Everybody wants the upset. Now, when you play UConn, it might not be that way because it's hard for UConn to feel like a David and a Goliath game because they're UConn. But for the most part, every fan, you always root for the upset. So you're going to see that. That's one thing about wearing that white jersey. I think there's some confidence and swagger when you have that white uniform. They'll wear the white uniform. You know how it works. The home team wears the white uniform. The higher-seeded team's the home team. So the Gators will wear those white unis, either the throwbacks that they wore Friday and Sunday or their new white unis that they wore Saturday. Did you notice the difference?
I did not.
Oh, well, you did not. I knew you wouldn't, but I wanted to ask you that. So they wore the 94 throwbacks on Friday and Sunday and their regular whites on Saturday. But they'll be wearing the white uniforms now the whole tournament until the Final Four, and then it just depends on if they got a team that was seeded higher than them. Here's my one concern. I told you I'd give you my one concern. And I think they will overcome this because I think Golden and their makeup will. But what has fueled them to this 30-4 record, this 14-4 record in the SEC plus 3 more wins, 17-4 against SEC teams? What has fueled them and what he has talked about forever is this chip on their shoulder that nobody thinks they're going to win whatever. That is real. That chip on the shoulder has been real. It has been real since the day they started it, man. Nobody, there's no McDonald's All-Americans on this team. They're all 4 of the 5 starters are transfers. Nobody had that. Now I was wrong. Now there are some NBA players, but for the longest time, me included, none of us thought there were any NBA guys on this team. They were just some upstarts that played well together. Well, slowly but surely that turned. Even when we got to Sunday, I think most people thought Tennessee was going to beat them. Playing at home, the crowd. I think people thought, even though Florida was favored in the last 2 games, I think there's people that expected them to lose, and I think they fueled. Well, now they don't have that anymore. Everybody and their brothers picking them to win the whole thing. Okay, I mean everybody. I mean Billis and all of them. They're all picking them to win the whole thing. I bumped into a trash collector outside. Said, "How you doing? Florida's going to win the whole thing." I don't. You bump into the bag person at the Publix. They think Florida's going to win the whole thing. Everybody thinks Florida's going to win. Whoever you talk to, Florida's. They're the Vogue pick. They're both the Vogue pick among the people you wouldn't expect. And now I think they may be favored in the odds. I think they may be the number one.
I think Duke's number 1 and Florida's 2.
Okay, but you get the point.
But they're certainly up there.
Everybody expects Florida to win now. Do they lose that edge, that chip on their shoulder, because nobody believes in them? Now, Todd Golden is so good at the psychology of this, and just their makeup, guys like Elijah Martin and Clayton, their mere makeup is they're street fighters at heart. And I think for that reason, they'll find a way to maintain that edge. But that's the biggest concern. Can this team that has thrived by being the chip on their shoulder, nobody believed in us team, which is an overused cliche in sports, but it works, all of a sudden they are the hunted. Can they thrive as the hunted as well as they have thrived all year long as the hunter?
I think Golden still has a card to play with that, because I think they had a good case to be the number 1 overall seed, and they're the 4th seed in this thing. They're the ones being shipped to San Francisco, not the Auburn Tigers or the Duke Blue Devils or the Houston Cougars. So I think, I think he still can play that card a little bit, but I understand your point. And, once you climb that ladder with the scissors in your hand and you cut down a piece of the net, you experience something that you've never experienced before as a coach or a player. Can you still say, and to their credit, the second that they got off the ladder, to a man, they were saying 6 more. We need 6 more. But, do you relax? This is going to be a really big week for preparation for Florida. Obviously, Friday night they're gonna win, barring some really grotesque miracle. So obviously you're getting on to Sunday before you're probably playing a team that realistically has a shot at you. So they can't have a bad week. They can't let off the gas. I mean, obviously they've got to maintain that focus, but I think they will. I mean, my guess is that this is only going to give them a small taste of what they know awaits them if they can win this tournament and be the last team standing in San Antonio.
One thing that really helps them in that regard, the second game could be UConn. They're not going to be asleep at the wheel with the UConn logo on those jerseys. That I was glad. I'm not glad to see him play UConn, because UConn knows how to play in the tournament. You made this point at the very top of the program. The fact that they haven't been there and they haven't experienced it, and a team like UConn has, makes me nervous, because you're not spooked. You're not spooked. It's a different setting in a tournament. They're all these gigantic arenas, and the crowds aren't always there. And when the crowds are there, you never know who they're rooting for. And games are called a little bit different, and your practice time is weird, and it's all different stuff that most of these players aren't. Elijah Martin's been through it, but most of these players haven't been through it. So how do you manage that? And here comes UConn, a team that knows that like the back of their hand. And so that makes me nervous a little bit. But the other point I made a minute ago is, will they have that chip on their shoulder? Well, they'll have it when they play UConn, because you and I both know that, let's say UConn beats Oklahoma, and I think they're going to. Okay, let's say UConn beats Oklahoma, and of course, like you said, Florida's going to win the 116 game. You know as well as I do, a lot of people looking for the upset are going to pick UConn. I mean, you're going to see. I'll bet it's almost 50-50 who people think will win that game, because people that don't follow it closely think UConn and Florida. UConn didn't. By the way, UConn beat them 10 years ago in the Final Four, and so that will help them. He'll be able to call on that a little bit. But what a great run! What a great spot for the Gators. I'm going to go through the whole brackets when we come back from the break. But enjoy this one, Florida fans. Enjoy this season. I will tell you this. You're measured on how you do in the postseason, not the regular season. So as glorious as this 30-4 are, the real season starts now. But they'll have a hard time doing much that's going to change the way I feel about this season. This has been a 3-month run. This has been 3-month joy. I can still, Chris Harry and I were talking, I can still remember, and he talked about this on the air. We were at the arena. It was cold. Remember how cold it was in the arena?
Yeah.
They were playing USF. It wasn't a particularly good crowd. I think they might have announced 5, but it didn't feel like 5 in there. It was still in the middle of football season. Monday night, right? I think it was a Monday night game. And we're in the arena, and there's not a lot of people there yet, and we're cold, and Chris is coming on, and Florida's playing USF. And Chris Harry sits in between us, and we interview him. He covers the Gators, and he looked at us, Hays, and he made it pretty clear. He said, this is a really good team. And I kind of look, he said, I'm telling you, Frank, it's the best team since that 2014 team. They are loaded at every spot. And I remember, and if you remember, by the way, USF got off to a 10-point lead in the first half. Do you remember that?
I don't.
USF got off to a big lead. And I'm like thinking, okay, Chris, well, if they're all so good, why are they trailing US? Maybe it's 8 points, but 8 to 10-point lead. I think it was 10. I'm thinking, do we really want to be trailing UCF in a cold arena in front of 4,600 fans?
They were inspired playing for their coach that recently passed.
Correct. And that's right. And Florida just had to kind of find itself a little bit. But the point is, Chris told us how good this team would be, and I think it has been a joyride. It has been a 3-month joyride, and I applaud them for that. That doesn't mean what happens now doesn't matter most, because it does. I mean, what matters, you're measured on now, not then. But what a joyride this team has taken at a time where, maybe Florida's turning it around a little bit. The baseball's very good. The Olympic sports are very good. But none of them felt like this. As much as I love baseball, and I loved seeing them in Omaha last year, but it wasn't like this. Other than football, there's nothing like this. And this is a joyride, this team, and I hope it continues. But this is a joyride this team is taking Gator fans on that's been pretty spectacular.
Yeah, this is an A-plus season for me, and obviously it'll be disappointing whenever it ends, if it doesn't end with a national championship. But to your point, I'm almost at they're playing with house money. I mean, it's going to take something awfully shocking for me to not call this an A-plus season. I mean, and obviously the lowest it could be in my eyes is an A season. I mean, it's everything you needed this season to be and more. I mean, you didn't really know what you had in Todd Golden. You thought you were encouraged. They made a nice jump from year 1 to year 2, but you didn't really know. And what he has proven is that he can go and build a team that can be elite. And I don't think they're done. I mean, they may have a drop-off next year of some kind, but I'd be stunned if they're not highly competitive in the SEC again. Obviously, what they might have front court-wise is just preposterous, particularly if the 7'9" freshman can play it all next year. And so I think it's been a phenomenal season because I think you now have, you've got your basketball coach for as long as he wants to be there. And I think he wants to be there for a long time. So the fact that you as a Florida fan, you can now expect to have an elite basketball team moving forward. I mean, you have to be over the moon about that. So I think it's pure euphoria. Obviously it'll be disappointing if they lose at any part of this tournament, but I think it'll be 10 minutes of disappointment. And then it'll be a rush of positive emotions of how many huge wins that this team has gotten. I mean, you look at what Florida is 5-2 in games this year where it's 2 top 10 teams. 5-2 in top 10 matchups. They were 6-16 prior to this year as a program.
All time.
They're 5-2 this year. A lot of great nights for this basketball team already.
Billy was there 19 years. You'd take 19 for Todd Golden. You'd be okay with that? I told you right now, you get the next 16 years. You'd be good?
I would be very good with that.
We'll take a break. We'll talk about the tournament overall, which is the toughest regions. We'll talk some NCAA big dance after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Catch the draft and accelerate to the checkered flag. Hey. This Sunday at Miami. NASCAR is tuned up by Maxie's Mechanics on 1010XL.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. So how do you decide? With so many messages on air, I know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. When you've been injured in an accident, you need help from someone you know, someone you can trust. Harrell & Harrell, a name you know, a name you trust. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's exclusive 31-day spring event. Experience superior craftsmanship and timeless design with buy one, get one 40% off custom replacement windows and patio doors. Enjoy the ease of 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires March 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality.
Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company is Fleming Island's first and only craft brewery. Founded by the co-founder and brewmaster of Wicked Barley, Barley and Pie serves up local brews made right in your backyard. Hungry? Dive into their sourdough Neapolitan pizza, made fresh in-house every day. Find your new go-to spot in Fleming Island at Barley and Pie Brewing Company.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy, you look worried.
Worried? I'm apoplectic.
You're what now?
I'm freaking out, Jason. Stupid water heater crapped out, so I haven't showered since Thursday. I start smelling a little funky, blow my big corporate job interview tomorrow. I'll end up settling for some dead-end career selling spatulas on the internet.
Dude, stay cool.
There's nothing cool about a cold shower, Jason. I mean, I know how that sounds, but
Bueller Air and Plumbing can get a new water heater installed today. The day you call. You could be smelling fresh again by dinner time.
Wait, you can do that?
Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Is that cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Well, life moves pretty fast. If you spend much more time smelling like this, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
The month of March makes us mad.
This is mass madness, you maniacs!
And we love it.
Count of three!
Experience the madness with 1010XL.
Served up hot by Hurricane Grill and Wings and Florida Pest Control.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect Pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Do you know someone looking for a fun and rewarding summer job? Join the YMCA team, gain valuable experience, and make a difference in kids' lives. Turn your passion for this community into a fulfilling career at the First Coast YMCA. Now hiring camp counselors, lifeguards, childcare leaders, and membership experience team. Every single person on the dedicated YMCA staff plays a role in making the Y a welcoming and vital resource for our community. Find your career at the Y at fcymca.org. Equal opportunity employer.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. Dylan Denmark here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of a quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at kuhnflowers.com.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
I'm Max Fink, here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. Although he came just short to world number 2 Rory McIlroy at this morning's playoff, JJ Spaun showed the golf world what he's capable of at the Players' Championship this weekend. The former San Diego State Aztec almost put it away with a near birdie on 18 last night, but fell apart on 17 this morning after a water ball led to an unfortunate triple bogey. After Spawn's second runner-up finish this season, he told Smiley Kaufman what he's taking away from this week.
It's hard to not feel discouraged a little bit, but nothing but positives and, putting myself in contention and giving myself a chance to win in a playoff. If someone told me that would happen to start the week, I would totally take it. So nothing but positives to take from it, and hopefully I can just learn from this and get it done next time.
It's 65 degrees at 5:06. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Hi, we do thank our friends for the Best Bet again. St. Patrick's Day, all kind of fun going on there. Now until midnight at all three locations, a Royal Flush in clubs. You take home $500 to $5,000. And don't forget, don't miss out on the $300 No Limit Hold'em St. Augustine Championship with a $30,000 guarantee this coming Saturday. That's right, a $30,000 guarantee. That's the $300 No Limit Hold'em St. Augustine Championship at Best Bet St. Augustine right off of I-95 as you head down to St. Johns County. Frangie and Carlyon here with you. JJ LaSelva here. As we continue along, let's look at the brackets, or the regions, I should say. I got my bracket in front of me. What jumped off the page for you? You knew who the 4 number ones would be. There was no debate. You kind of knew who the number 2s would be. Tennessee, by the way, the 5th overall seed. So there is probably some merit to the thinking among some that they might have edged Florida for that 4th 1 seed if they had won the game. I don't know if they would have or not. And by the way, they shouldn't have. I saw how long Florida should have had that. And I even sent out a post on why Florida should have had that thing locked up. It doesn't matter now because Florida won the game. But Tennessee's the 5th overall seed. Which regions grabbed you the most? What do you think is the toughest regions, all that?
Well, I would start with North Carolina being in the field, which is a total abomination. I mean, it's one of the most reckless examples of political connections in sports that I think we've seen in a long time. I mean, you can't win one game in quad 1 games, in my opinion, and be considered for this field. And, when there's other, again, like a West Virginia who has some fantastic road wins.
Six quad 1 wins.
Yeah. So, I think it kind of started there. I understand it. The dollar is never meant more in college athletics, and I'm sure putting North Carolina in the play-in game is going to give that the best ratings that it's probably ever had. So I understand that. I understand the power of North Carolina. I think North Carolina has an unbelievable basketball reputation. I mean, they are, to me, they are as good as it gets in college basketball as a program, but they didn't deserve to be in this field. When you compare to some of the teams that also ended up that ended up getting left out. That was a surprise. Louisville being an 8 is really a bad deal for Auburn. I mean, Louisville should have probably been seated somewhere between 5 and 6.
And in Lexington.
They did get put in Lexington, which is sort of I think the committee trying to, help them a bit, but it really is unfair to Auburn. I mean, Louisville can play. Like, UConn's an 8 in Florida's bracket. UConn doesn't really play defense. I mean, yes, I guess you can make an argument for the UConn mystique, but what I would argue with that is, well, what kind of mystique did Florida have when Noah and Horford and Brewer and Green and Humphrey left? I mean, they didn't have any. That next year's team didn't have any mystique. Now, UConn's done better this year than Florida did in that year, but the mystique is the players. It's not the program, and UConn has a lot of defensive issues but Louisville is an 8 seed. They're incredibly dangerous. So I think for Auburn is the overall 1 to have to possibly play Louisville in Lexington, Kentucky in your second round game. Incredibly dangerous game, I think, for the Auburn Tigers.
I think as I go region to region, I agree with you, by the way. I think the East, there's no easy regions. I think the East is the easiest region. I think the West is the hardest region as I look at those. I think the South is the second hardest region, or the third. Let me say that again. East, South, West, Midwest, I think, are the orders, in my opinion, of toughness. No, I said that wrong. Let me do that again. The East is the easiest. The Southwest, East, Midwest. Now I got it right. Okay. So I think the East is easy, but I think Duke has got to beat Mississippi State. They'll win the first game. Mississippi State, Baylor. I don't think either one of those teams could play with Duke. Then you've got Arizona, Akron, Oregon, Liberty, BYU, I don't think is great. You got to Alabama's the next best team in that, and Alabama is mightily flawed. I don't think Alabama can. I mean, Florida just beat Alabama by 30 points or whatever it was, 20 some odd points. At least it felt that way. So I think that is a very playable region for me. Auburn having to play in Lexington against Louisville really grabbed my attention too. And I think Michigan State's pretty darn good. They have both Michigan and Michigan State in the same region. Those are two really good Big Ten teams. I mean, those are really good Big Ten teams. The West is tough because of that middle of the pack. Missouri, I think, has a really good team. When you have Kansas and UConn in the same region, even though they're both off a little bit, Kansas way off, I think that's a difficult region. I'll tell you what's interesting. Houston wins easily. They play the Gonzaga-Georgia winner.
Yeah, I mean, that's brutal.
That is an interesting game. I mean, if Houston play Georgia's pretty good. Georgia and Gonzaga's 8, Georgia's 9.
Gonzaga is 8th in the net rankings.
Yeah, and
8th in the country in the net rankings and got an 8 seed.
And they got an 8 seed, so Houston's going to have to play them. I think that's tough. That Tennessee-Illinois matchup, if it comes to that, Illinois, Kentucky, and Tennessee are all in the same bottom half of the Midwest.
I think the Midwest is by far the hardest.
That's tough.
Yeah. And a lot of people love Clemson. Clark Kellogg on the selection show picked Clemson to go to the national title game. He had Florida winning it. But again, for Houston to have to play, I think Gonzaga will beat Georgia. And Georgia's talented. If Georgia gets past Gonzaga, that's not going to be easy either because any of these 1 seeds that's a non-SEC 1 seed or a 2 seed, when you see that first SEC team, that's going to be a massive challenge because you just don't know. I mean, we think that this conference is light years better than any other. We'll see if it plays out in the tournament. But for teams like a Houston, if you've got to play, to me, that's a tough game regardless because I think Gonzaga beats Georgia. So you're playing a team that is looking for their 9th straight Sweet 16 appearance. And again, how they got an 8 seed when they are 8th in the country in the net is it. Just to give you an example, Georgia, who they're playing is the 9, Georgia's 33rd in the net.
Right.
So how does that make any sense at all? And how does that favor Houston?
Where's UConn and Oklahoma in the net? Why you have it pulled up?
So UConn is a little further down. They're like 33rd in the net. Let me make sure I'm giving you the right number here. UConn is... Where is UConn?
The reason I ask is because
Oklahoma is 43rd.
Okay.
And UConn is... Where is UConn?
Okay. But anyway, so Oklahoma's a 43rd team. They're a 9. Georgia's the 33rd team. They're a 9. UConn, they're in there somewhere.
Yeah, they're 32nd.
Okay, so UConn's 32nd. Georgia's 33rd. They're both 8s and 9s. Oklahoma's 36th. Gonzaga's 8th.
Right.
That's your point. So,
and Louisville for Auburn is 24th.
Yeah.
Which tells you they shouldn't probably be an 8. And by the way, playing in their home state.
Yeah.
For Auburn and Houston, though, I think they get past those challenges and advance to the second weekend. But that's not easy. To your point, Duke, Mississippi State, I've seen them. They're average.
Yeah.
They've got no chance of beating Duke.
Yeah.
Baylor, I don't know as well, but I don't think that they're going to give Duke much trouble. Florida could be somewhat bothered by the 8-9 winner, but I think Auburn and Houston have massive challenges.
And by the way, to your point, this Louisville playing in Lexington is not the same as if it was Mississippi State playing in Jackson, Mississippi. They know the following. Kentucky's a basketball-crazed state.
Absolutely.
So in Rupp Arena, Louisville will pack that. It'll look like yesterday when Tennessee was playing Florida in Nashville, and there were 20,000 Tennessee fans. That's how it's going to feel. So I think Auburn could be in some danger, so we will see. All right, so we'll talk brackets all week long. We'll fill out our brackets. That'll be one of our Loser Monday contests. The first 32 games, whoever does the worst gets to go to Bono's. We have that coming up in just a bit. But let's take a break. Hays had headlines on the other side. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Happy New Year from everyone at Nimnik Chevrolet. Now look, as they begin 2025, Nimnik is so excited to offer even more choices and better prices for you, ensuring your car buying experience is second to none. And if you're wondering where to go for a better buying experience, it's simple. Nobody but Nimnik. So here's to another year of driving forward together. And don't forget now, in this new year means new truck time at Nimnik Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnik Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnik. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. It boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor, and ask about a terrific low rate as well. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnik Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Feel the downforce of 100 horses.
Everybody in the crowd on their feet.
This Sunday at Miami.
Wow!
NASCAR is revved up by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 and 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Join UF Health Jacksonville for their inaugural golf classic on Friday, April 25th at Amelia River Club. Sponsorships and foursomes are available. Visit ufhealthjacks.org/golf for details. See you on the course.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my success with back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Want to bet on sports but no clue where to start? Millions of players are already making moves on Hard Rock Bet. Your friends might be winning. Why not you? Bet with confidence. Bets by real players help guide your picks. Go with the crowd and cash in on the wins. Any pick that catches your eye. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us. Win your first bet or get up to $100 back in bonus bets. Payable and bonus bet up to $100. Not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 and up and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group, 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
If you want to see Florida take on Florida State at the Showdown at the baseball grounds at VyStar Ballpark, March 25th, text baseball to the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010 for your chance to win tickets.
When you hear Florida Gators baseball on 1010XL, it's brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators, and Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
A lot goes into taking care of your property. You need equipment with more reliability and versatility built in, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors to get the job done right, Z Series mowers that deliver a quality cut, and Sidekick utility vehicles where durability meets speed. Visit Coastal Equipment for a demo today.
Greater power for the great outdoors. Coastal Equipment.
Coastal Equipment on New Kings Road and in McClenny.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
If you're
you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harold & Harold. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. We've got JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harold & Harold. Give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, we're going to start with the Players' Championship. Rory McIlroy won the 3-hole playoff this morning after JJ Spaun triple bogeyed 17. McIlroy put immediate pressure on Spaun by birdieing the 16th to take a 1-shot lead, and then Spaun made a crippling mistake at 17, finding the water over the green. McIlroy is now a 2-time Players' Champion, having won his first in 2019, and pocketed $4.5 million for Monday's triumph.
Yeah, it's always great for the tournament, any tournament, when a star A-list celebrity wins it, and that's what you had here. Honestly, he and Scheffler are the 2 most named guys. He's probably the most popular guy on tour now. JJ Spaun played well. He made the mistake. He hit an 8-iron on 17. Should have hit the 9-iron. I saw him in the presser afterwards, by the way. Did you see where he stopped the presser and asked if he could watch it? He had not watched it.
Yeah.
So he's in the presser. And he said, "You guys mind if I watch it?" He was still shocked it flew over the green. So, but a great win. A great win for Rory and a great win for the Players' Championship, which I thought was just magnificent. All the work they put into that, every bit of it paid off. I thought it was a great week.
It really was a fantastic week, yes. Congratulations to all involved. Also, congratulations to our good buddy, Times Union golf writer Gary Smits. 40 years covering the Players' Championship and has done a magnificent job and will continue to do so.
Absolutely. Alessandra Pomprion from Channel 4 did a fantastic story on Smitter, and it was just great. And Smitter got to be the star of the story, and who's a better guy than Smitter to get to be the star? I thought it was wonderful, and 40 straight years of and doing, to your point, not 40 straight years just covering it, but doing a really good job. If you've read Smitter's notes over the years, his leads over the years, he has told you the story of the Players' Championship in a marvelous way. So tip of the cap to our friend Smitter.
Absolutely. Let's get into college basketball. The Gators win the SEC tournament, defeating Missouri, Alabama, and Tennessee over a 3-day span. Sunday's 86-77 win over the Vols gave UF its 5th SEC tourney title. Walter Clayton Jr. was named tournament MVP, scoring 22 points against Tennessee with some clutch threes. The Gators also out-rebounded the Vols 39-25.
They are tough. They are physical. They are long. They are deep. They are skilled. They play with a chip on their shoulder. They were the best team in the tournament. That's why they won, is because they were the best team in the tournament. Tennessee eked out a win over Auburn, the number 1 seed, and Florida handled Tennessee. Tennessee and Auburn went back and forth. Auburn had a chance, made some mistakes at the end, and Tennessee won the game. I mean, but not Florida, Tennessee. There were no mistakes. There was no fluke at the end of the game. There were no calls that why they won the game. They were the better of the 2 teams. They were the best team in the SEC at the end of the year, and they won the tournament.
The Gators are a 1 seed in the West, the 4th overall seed in the tournament. Frank, were you okay with UF being the 4th 1 seed?
I was. I understand the thinking that right now Florida's playing better than anybody. If you compare Florida and Auburn, Florida won at Auburn, so they should have been ahead of them. I didn't see that. Just like I didn't see Tennessee should have been ahead of Florida if Tennessee had beaten them yesterday, because they'd have beaten them 2 out of 3. Florida still had a better season. Auburn had 16 quad 1 wins. You get that seeding based on your entire body of work, not just how you're playing at the end. I'm okay with it. Having said that, if Florida and Auburn went and played in the parking lot right now, I'd pick Florida. I think Florida's the best team in the SEC right now. There's a reason everybody's picked there, the Vogue pick now, to win the national championship. I think they're playing at a great level. But I was okay with the fourth overall number one, or the fourth number one.
Florida will play 16 seed Norfolk State, the champs of the MEAC, Friday evening at 6:50 in Raleigh. That's about a 7.5-hour drive from Gainesville. Florida will face the winner, assuming they get through, of UConn, Oklahoma on Sunday. So, Frank, do you like how the draw sets up for Florida in the first weekend?
Here's what I believe. If you're the best team, it doesn't matter who you play. That's what I believe. Having said that, the UConn thing does concern me a little bit because I do think there's something to having been there and being a team that understands it. Your coach, your coaching staff, the leftover players, they understand what the tournament feels like, and those teams tend to play better year in and year out to a newbie. Having said that, I think Florida's better than UConn or Oklahoma. Frankly, I think they're better than Maryland or Memphis. I would be very surprised if they don't make the Elite Eight. By the time you get to the Elite Eight, it could be St. John's. It could be Kansas coming on. That one I'm not as confident of, but I'm still confident they're going to get to the Final Four. I'm going to pick them to win the whole thing. But yeah, Hays, if you're good enough, it doesn't matter who you play. If you're better, you usually win, and I think Florida's better.
We will try to bring you some fun moments for flashback purposes from previous NCAA tournaments. Today's item is something the Gators will really try to avoid Friday night. Take it away, JJ.
The more I watch Purdue, the more I think we can beat them. Yes, sir. Let's go shock the world. Let's go do this. Yes, sir.
Do you believe it? For just the second time ever, a 16 beats a 1.
Fairleigh Dickinson beats Purdue on this day 2 years ago, 63-58. The second ever 16 over a 1. Of course, Virginia was the first one, first number 1 seed to lose. Hard to believe it's been 2 years. I don't know that we'll see that in this tournament, but something, a video clip Todd Golden might want to show his boys between now and Friday night.
Yeah, I don't think Florida's going to lose to Norfolk State, but I do think this. I think the 16 and the 1s are closer than they've ever been. I think the most recent time it happened was 2 years ago, not 32 years ago. I think that's a reason. So, no, I think the beauty of the tournament, Hays, is it's just magical. From the minute they tip that thing off at noon on Thursday till they sing One Shining Moment on that Monday night in April, it's a magnificent 3 weeks of action and excitement and upsets, and it's crazy and wonderful, and I can't wait for it to start.
Absolutely. Let's get it to the NFL. Cincinnati signs huge extensions with receivers Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Chase gets 4 years and $161 million, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. Higgins received a 4-year deal worth $115 million. Cincinnati keeping that passing attack sharp for years to come.
I thought I saw a really cool story on this. I've never seen this before. So Rocky Arsenault has been Chase's agent. T. Higgins fired his agent, went with Arsenault. So now both players have the same agent. And Arsenault pretty much went to the Browns, the Brown family, went to the Bengals owners and said, listen, I want to do this together. We're going to, if you want one, you got to take both. And let's negotiate them together. I've never heard of an agent picking up the other great receiver, now handling both receivers, and going to the family that owns the Cincinnati Bengals. What a phenomenal deal. Great job by the agent. And, boy, the Bengals are going to be tough in years to come offensively for sure.
Without a doubt, the Texans have signed star cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. to a massive 3-year, $90 million extension, making him the NFL's highest-paid defensive back in its history.
Well, then they added the competition for him. Yes. Okay, I think it'll be a dogfight, right? In my opinion, a dogfight right until the season begins, because they brought in another star cornerback, Ronald Darby, to compete with him.
That's right, on a very similar deal. 1 year, $2.5 million.
They signed them both this year. Hey, you know what I say? May the best man win.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Cooper Kupp to Seattle on a 3-year, $45 million deal. This was consummated right after we went off the air on Friday afternoon, but curious to get your thoughts about it. Seems like a lot of money for a receiver that we believe has lost a step.
Yeah, I can tell you, I never expected the Jags to have – a lot of people connected the Jags to Kupp because Gladstone knew him, the same way that they connected the Jags to Godwin because Liam Cohen knew him. I never believed the Jags had any interest in either guy. So as far as the Jags and Cup, that was never going to play. That was never even, I don't think that was even on the menu, in my opinion. As for where he went, I did not think he'd get $15 million. He played for 20 in the past. I honestly thought he would be happy to land in that 7 to 10 range. So I'm so good for him, by the way. It only takes one team to pay you, but I'm surprised somebody did.
And obviously he's from that area, so good for Cooper Kupp. But yeah, I don't have high expectations for him producing with the Seahawks, but we'll see. The Vikings have traded for 49ers running back Jordan Mason. Minnesota now has a pair of dynamic backs as Mason joins Aaron Jones. Mason ran for 789 yards last year with Christian McCaffrey out before Mason suffered his own ankle injury that cost him the final 5 games. But a good move, I think, for the Vikings, who really only had to give up a late-round pick to acquire him.
Yeah, the Vikings are still pretty good. Great receivers, really well coached, good defense, very well-run defense. I think the Vikings are going to make a run at this thing this year, which is why that quarterback situation is so interesting. The more and more I think about it, I think Aaron Rodgers winds up there. I don't think you can make they're too good to try and play a rookie quarterback, which is what he will be, whether he's technically a rookie or not. I think they're too good to put their hopes in a rookie quarterback's hands, and I think the Vikings will be pretty good. I think I think Aaron Rodgers winds up in Minnesota because the team's that close.
If I was Aaron Rodgers, that would be where I was trying to get to. So we'll see if that's what ends up happening. In regards to quarterbacks around the league, the Falcons are keeping Kirk Cousins for now, but they triggered a $10 million bonus due next year by not releasing him yet. The 36-year-old Cousins wants a chance to start elsewhere after losing his job to Michael Penix Jr. So we'll see. Atlanta could still trade Kirk Cousins, and maybe that's where it ends up. But really puzzling if their plan is really to pay their backup quarterback monumentally high money.
It's not. There's no way it is. They know there's still the Giants, there's the Steelers, there's teams out there that need quarterbacks. They know that. And I can't think for a minute that Kirk Cousins is going to get paid like that to sit on the bench. Number one, it won't be good for the culture of the team. This is step one in trying to trade him. Now, the trade compensation will be interesting, but is there any, I mean, let's say Aaron Rodgers goes to Minnesota. You telling me that either the Steelers or the Giants won't try and get Kirk Cousins for at least something? And by the way, to take the salary off the books, the Falcons probably aren't looking for much in trade equity, right? I mean,
I don't see how they could be.
Give me a fifth or a sixth and take the money, and we'll make the deal. So no, there's no chance he's on Atlanta this year.
Interesting news in regards to the NFL draft today. Arizona receiver Tedero McMillan reportedly posted a 4.8 40 time at his pro day. 4.48, thank you. McMillan originally said he was not going to run at the combine or his pro day, so obviously had a change of heart. If that time is legit, T-Mac solidifies himself as a likely top 10 pick and maybe even a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I think more news came out after that. Albert Breer posted on X that scouts that he knew, hand time, it was all hand time, had him more in the mid 4.5s than the mid 4.4s. So, or the high 4.4s. So I think that's probably more realistic. My guess is if he's electronically timed, he's probably more of a 4.55 than a 4.48. But what people think he's really good. What they didn't want to see is him run 4.75.
Correct.
And if he's running in the mid 4.5s, I still think he's going to be taken very high. And yes, I think the Jaguars will be in play. I'd be surprised if they're not.
Let's get to Major League Baseball. Braves ace Spencer Strider looks good in his spring debut, striking out 6 of 8 batters faced. JJ, are you excited?
I was happy to see that today because I wasn't expecting him to be ready by the start of the season, but I mean, it's going to be pretty close. And once again, he did not have Tommy John surgery, so he, obviously isn't going to be out the full year and a half that most of these guys are. So I was stoked to see him out there today.
What about the other guys, JJ? Acuna, Sean Murphy?
Acuna's been looking great, but I think they'll probably won't start him with the team probably for another few weeks. And Murphy, I'm not sure, but I could care less.
Yeah.
I can't stand him.
But
we need him.
Yeah.
We don't have Travis d'Arnaud anymore.
But that's 3 starting. The starting catcher, one of the best players in baseball, and one of the hardest throwers in baseball.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if they come back.
Absolutely. We will get you out on our musical note of the day. CBS did a wonderful tribute to Greg Gumbel as Sunday's selection show began. Gumbel died on December 27th. They said he was a diehard Rolling Stones fan, so much so that the crew all wore Stone shirts in honor of Greg Gumbel. This is Start Me Up.
Wasn't that great?
Yeah.
When the way they did it, I thought was absolutely the talent wore their suits, but the whole crew around them all had Stone's T-shirts on. He was a really well-respected, well-liked, and this was his wheelhouse, man. Hosting the selection show, nobody ever did it better. So I agree with you. Well done. And Adam Zucker, by the way, who took over for him, I thought did a nice tip of the cap.
Yes.
And it was very well done. The whole thing was well done. I agree with you. Back in a moment to wrap the program. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The field of 68 for the NCAA Men's Championship has been released. The top seeds are Duke, Houston, Auburn, and the Florida Gators. Duke is the betting favorite to win the title at plus 310 despite an ankle injury to freshman sensation Cooper Flagg. While the Florida Gators are the second betting favorite. They're coming off winning the SEC championship game in Nashville Sunday over Tennessee. They are plus 380. Auburn has spent the most time of any team at number one this season, are plus 500. Houston plus 650. Alabama and Tennessee both plus 1,800 to win the title. Michigan State and St. John's plus 2,500. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Plumbing problem? AC not blowing cool? Septic tank backing up? No need to call 3 different companies. Just call Duck Duck Rooter. At Duck Duck Rooter, we do it all. Plumbing, septic, and air conditioning with expert technicians in each department. One company, one call, one easy bill. No hassle, no runaround, just fast professional service from highly skilled techs who know their stuff. Need help? Call 904-862-6769 today and let Duck Duck Rooter handle it all. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, you know, it's been 10 years that I've been vouching for my guys at Dandy Foods, and for a decade, I'm proud of my association with a local family business. They make a great product. I've made no secret that I was a customer long before Dandy ever came on board on 1010XL. But I'm thinking I'm due a little Dandy swag, maybe a little love. How about a Dandy t-shirt, a ball cap? So how about it, Thompson family? What do you got going on over there? In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating those delicious tuna salad sandwiches. So guys, keep helping me out and grab a Dandy sandwich today.
For the greenest, lushest lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
Hacker here, and as most of you know, I'm now in Awaken 180's free maintenance support for life. 122 pounds gone, and that number on the scale hasn't crept up a pound. I didn't just choose Awaken 180 because of the weight loss. I chose Awaken 180 to keep the weight off. I wasn't going to put in the work, the highs, the achievements, just to watch it slip away after the program stopped. I wanted a solution, and boy, I sure found it. Awaken 180 is life-changing and life-altering. Over 120 pounds down in just 10 months. Now I'm in the maintenance program. I still get the coaching that I need. I still get the motivation that got me 120 pounds down, and I'm not gaining it back. If it's time for you to lose the weight like it was for me, go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com. If I can do it, you can do it. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, maybe even your kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Don't let divorce take more than it has to.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
If fishing is in your DNA, hop in the boat with Captain Kevin. It's the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about not looking at the rear view mirror of unforgiveness. It's so easy to keep looking in the past when someone has hurt or offended us. What we don't realize that if we keep looking at the rear view mirror of anger, it will cause us to miss out on the good things that God has in store right in front of us. Friends, looking in the rear view mirror of the past will never give you peace in the present.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you become more active, reach your weight loss goals, and find your inner strength. Membership at the Y includes state-of-the-art facilities, a huge variety of fitness classes, and programs for all ages. It's easy to join the Y since it's affordable for all incomes. The Y is a great place to make connections and experience something new. Visit the YMCA near you or online at fcymca.org.
If you're heading to the Og or you're already part of the nation's oldest, don't forget to drop into Sunset Grill. For over 30 years, serving up great chowder, seafood, wings, and cold beer. Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A, St. Augustine Beach.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, where have we been today on the program? A lot of golf. We talked about Rory McIlroy winning for the second time here at the Players. It took an extra day. The playoff was today, a 3-hole aggregate. He beat J.J. Spawn kind of easily today. J.J. hit one in the water on 17. He was already down a shot, and that, for the most part, ended it. So Rory McIlroy is the champion of the 2025 Players Championship. We also looked back at the fact that it was just a fantastic week here in Jacksonville, and it was great watching it and great being part of it. We certainly enjoyed that. I want to try and get our friend Lee Smith to come in because we're on remote Thursday and Friday. Maybe see if Lee wants to stop by on Wednesday and kind of recap the Players Championship and how it went. But certainly a great day, or a great week to watch golf, no question about that. We talked about the Gators. They win the SEC title, the SEC tournament title, and I thought did it in dominant fashion. And they're now one of the 4 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament. And, of course, we talked about the NCAA tournament field. The brackets are available. We will fill out our brackets. We all will. And the first weekend, the first 32 games, whoever does the worst there is heading back to Bono. I said back to Bono's. I should have said that. Should have, JJ. I made an assumption there, didn't I? I just said back to Bono's like JJ said. Go easy. It's only been one event for God's sake.
I haven't watched a college basketball game in years, so
which means you'll probably do the best.
I hope. That's right. I did take a peek at Jay Billis's, on ESPN.com, and he had all the number 1 seeds. Yeah. So I'm like, well, I can't copy that. I mean, that's but I have heard that, if there is going to be a tournament where all the number 1 seeds make it, it would probably be this one.
I will say this. I did one year. I did my bracket like I thought it would be. And then I did a second bracket, and I picked the favorite every game. And back then, you didn't know who was the higher of the four number ones. Now you do. but I picked the favorite the higher seed every game until the Final Four, and then I just guessed at the Final Four. And do you know the two brackets were almost identical as far as how many right and wrong?
Oh, really?
So picking all the chalk versus guessing at it, about the same.
Well, you can't go chalk because the odds tell you you're going to see upsets.
Yeah.
So
But I was just curious.
That's the tricky part is picking which ones are going to hit.
I'm telling you, 1 year, because the 12 over the 5 always happens.
Right.
1 year I'm going to pick all 4 just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Because usually it's almost 2 of them happen almost every year.
Right.
There's always a 12 over a 5. And
Yeah.
So, which
Even
is,
the 4 is really over the last, if you look at the last 10 years, the 13 and the 4.
I was about to say that's the new 12-5.
Yeah, it's become a dangerous game. So I could see it where all 4 ones make it. Somebody, again, you see so much information. It did happen. I wasn't the one that came up with this. Somebody tweeted it, whether it was Billis or somebody else, that the last time all 4 1 seeds made it to the Final Four, the Final Four was in San Antonio.
Oh.
Which is where it is.
What year was it?
2008, I think.
Oh, is that right?
So it doesn't often happen.
Yeah.
But what I would say about this year is metrically, these are the strongest number 1 seeds collectively that we have seen in a very long time. It is unusual that you have programs like, or not even programs, but these collective teams as strong as Duke is. Duke is magnificent offensively and defensively. Houston is arguably the best defense in the country. They're certainly up there, and they've gotten a lot better offensively. Auburn has been magnificent all year until the very end of the year. So you don't know. It's like, did Auburn just take their foot off the gas because they'd clinched the SEC regular season, and all they were hearing is this team can lose 2 or 3 games and still be the number 1 overall seed, which they did and still got. So can Auburn kind of refine that? My guess is they will. And then you've got Florida, who looks to be about as good and dominant a team as you could have going into this tournament. So I do think it's possible you see all 4 seeds. It's not what I will pick, but I don't think it's as nuts as it would normally be.
Right. And the other part that really is intriguing here, and it may not amount to anything, but it is intriguing that so many blue bloods, even some of the new bloods, are ranked as low or seated as low as they are. It is interesting that UConn is an 8 and Gonzaga is an 8 and Kansas is a 7. You don't see that for
North Carolina's in the playing game.
Right. North Carolina's in the playing game. You don't see that very often. You don't see that many teams that have historically been dominant basketball programs seated in the middle of the pack. That's the odd part.
Because even Kentucky is a 3, but you're not seeing a lot of buzz about Kentucky taking down Tennessee, the 2 in that region, or the 1 Houston. They could,
right?
But so Kentucky has a strong seed. There's certainly nothing wrong with being a 3 seed, but it doesn't feel like they're a 3 seed that has the kind of buzz that like a Texas Tech has in the West. I agree. And who's the 3 seed in Auburn's got a pretty tough 3 seed, I think, too.
Iowa State. But to your point, the reason, to the point that UConn's an 8 and Gonzaga's an 8 and Kansas is a 7. One of the reasons that those teams, Gonzaga not so much, but Kentucky and Kansas and UCLA and they get all the McDonald's All-Americans. Well, that used to be what won. Well, now in the portal era,
it's a kid from Iona.
It's a kid from Iona who might be 23 years old. And so he's going head-to-head against that 18-year-old McDonald's kid who may be good one day, but he's got to play against a grown man. That's what's happening. And I mean, you think about it. I mean, again, even though this Florida team that's so good, 4 of the 5 starters are transfers. 4 of the 5. It's 4 transfers and a kid from Australia. Those are the starters. And so that Tennessee team was all transfers, it felt like yesterday. So I think that's the world we're in. So anyway,
the Baylor national title team from a couple years ago. They were all transfers.
All transfers. No question about it. All right, so let's say a little Rick Below.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Yeah, Rick, I know you had to be happy today. I know you're a big Rory fan, and Rory won for you today. I thought that there had to be some bonding between you and Rory, being the fan you are.
Well, listen, I'm always going to root for a guy who comes from the other side of the tracks and the brutal life that Rory had, growing up, and finally someone put a golf club in his hand.
Overcame it. He overcame it.
Yeah. So it's a feel-good story, and I'm all about that.
You are. What do you think of the players overall, though? Good.
Yeah, I thought it was a great week outside of yesterday. That was terrible. It was a disaster. A lot of people complained about sat in their car for a few hours trying to get out of there. I don't even know what to say about that. But I thought it was exciting. I do hope moving forward they can reach some sort of an agreement. They are missing star power, and that's evident. The best players did rise, or some of the best players rose in this tournament, but just looking at the guys who are in the Live, and that's going to be the difference between the Players' Championship and the Masters in a month, is that they're all going to participate in that. And I'm not blaming the Players' Championship. I'm blaming Jay Monahan and the divorce that went on between these two associations. In my opinion, you need Brooks Koepka, you need Bryson DeChambeau, you need more star power on the PGA Tour.
And I think at some point I'm not smart enough to know where it is, but they've all talked about fixing it. Now, I don't know. I mean, they've all talked about how many times we heard they're close, they're talking, and it hasn't happened yet. So we'll talk about that. And the brackets, I'll bet you'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into the brackets tonight. I got an interesting Jaguar thing I want to introduce as well, with today being a big day. Of course, last week we hit it early with free agency, but the Players' Championship really took over last week. So still a few things I want to do on the Jags. That's coming up tonight as well.
All right, Rick Ballou goes into the night. That happens right now. Folks, that'll do it for our program. We'll be back tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel, right here in studio. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.